Welcome to Rad2, another daily reader for Reddit. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. TIFU by pretending to be deaf for the entire quarantine. So, 3 months ago or whenever it was that the quarantine started, I started an online course for a few subjects. To provide some background, these aren't my school classes or anything and I've never met these people before. There are maybe 10 other kids in class and the teacher is actually pretty great. So the first 2 days go pretty well, but on the third day I freak up big time. We were in between a physics class that had already been going on for an hour and I'd completely gotten distracted halfway through. I have an incredibly low attention span and this was already too much for me. When the teacher called my name to answer his question, I had no idea what he'd been talking about, so I tried to Google it. However, I have crappy internet, so it took like really long to load and the teacher was getting pissed as to why I wasn't responding and why I was typing. So, completely freaking out, I decided to text him on the Google Meet chat and make an excuse that my laptop's audio and microphone are not working today and I've been reading the subtitles which take quite some time to load, so I hadn't quite gotten his question. In my immense panic, I phrased this somewhat vaguely and said, "I can't actually hear, I've been reading the subtitles, they take quite some time to load." To which the instructor said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I wasn't aware that you were deaf." In my intense panic and anxiety, I just went along with it. Dumb as frick. It actually worked out fine. I'd type out all the answers sent to me and even bought a hearing aid that I sometimes wore in class. Now I say sometimes because I don't actually have the focus and commitment to remember to put it on every class. When asked about it, I told the people in class that even with the hearing aid I can't hear much, so I don't usually bother wearing it. They bought it. Everyone in class likes me a lot now too and they find me very endearing. There's a girl, Carla, who says I have the most beautiful smile she's ever seen. So this was actually going really well for me. But like most of my antics, this backfired on me big time. When I made this godforsaken decision all that time ago, I was sure I'd get away with it. We were never going to meet IRL. However, about a week ago the instructor decided to meet IRL as the lockdown in my country has been lifted. I spent all night watching videos of deaf people and trying to figure out how to behave. I decided to pretend to also be completely dumb so I wouldn't have to try to speak like them. It seemed very hard and I didn't want to try. So anyway, we meet up and everything goes well. No one uncovers my secret or anything. I spend the entire IRL meet with Carla, who is completely freaking stunning in real life. She's smart, she's funny, she's kind. We keep handing each other notes on tissue papers and it's the cutest crap ever. I haven't ever been this attracted to anyone in my entire life. Toward the end of the meet, however, Carla hands me a tissue paper with one little heartbreaking sentence on it. "Will you date me?" Frick. Panicking, I tell her I need some time to think and she's chill with it. I'm supposed to be meeting up with her tomorrow. I can't pretend to be deaf and dumb while dating her, it's fricking impossible, but if I have to keep this charade up I'll have to let her go and I don't want to do that either. There's also the other option where I tell her it was all an act. Best case scenario is the extreme embarrassment plus amazing girlfriend, and the worst case scenario is she thinks I'm in butthole and I lose her anyway. TL. Doctor, I pretended to be deaf because I wasn't paying attention in class and now I might be missing out an amazing girlfriend. Edit. She just texted me what time to pick her up. The date is actually tonight, not tomorrow, so I have way less time to make this decision than I expected. Haha, I'm like a disaster that keeps on happening. Anyways, you should have an update in about 6 to 7 hours, which is when I'll meet her. Update. So this is the update y'all have been waiting for. I just got back from the date with Carla. So basically, I prepared really hard for the date. Googled what the appropriate flowers for apologizing for your Liza and got her white orchids. I then put on my best clothes and set out. She'd come to the date with a cute little notepad and 2 pencils for us to write notes in, which melted me instantly, but I was so anxious and nervous that at first I couldn't bring myself to tell her. But as we sat waiting for our order to arrive, I kinda snapped cause of guilt and scribbled down into the notebook, "Hey, there's not easy way to break this, but I'm not actually deaf or dumb," to which she replied with, "I know you're not deaf, but you're pretty dumb." At which point I said "what the frick" out loud. She then laughed and explained that she'd thought I was so cute that she'd Googled me long ago and found my Instagram, which has highlighted stories from concerts where I'm screaming and vibing. So she only asked me out to figure out for how long I'd keep it going. So she was actually playing me the whole time. I was feeling pretty bummed that she only wanted to date me for that, but nevertheless I apologized profusely and showed her the Reddit post to explain myself. Best move ever. Thank you so much everyone in the comments who asked me to do this. She found a post funny and cute and adorable. I told her I totally understand if she wants to end the date now, but she didn't. We had a great time and aren't officially dating or anything, but we did set a second date for next Wednesday. She also told me that while she understands why I did what I did and that anxiety, especially social anxiety, is so hard to deal with, but she also believes that I was a little offensive, especially with the hearing aid. She explained to me why that was so insensitive, and I'd like to apologize for anyone I might have offended on here. It really wasn't my intention. Also, for our second date we're planning to volunteer at a center for deaf kids so I can redeem myself. Thank you fricking Reddit. Y'all might have just got me a girlfriend. Show her this post, it explains everything. Let her read it and watch her face. If she's really cool she might think it's hilarious and you'll be telling your grandkids the idiot move that led you to their grandmother. By the way, I'm rooting for it working out and someone basing a heartfelt rom-com on your story someday. Edit. Thank you for my first Reddit awards and please update us on the outcome. Smile. Edit 2. At so stoked for you. I feel a little bit weirdly responsible for being the first to tell you to show her the post, and that makes me so happy inside. Glad that you came clean, that it worked out, and that you get to volunteer and grow personally through this experience to boot. What a fantastic story. Please someone make a rom-com from this. I love this idea. Show her the post. If nothing else, she'll at least be flattered. Chanting asterisk. Show the post, 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 show the post. Show the post, 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 show the post. Show the post. Do you not watch sitcoms? Question mark. How could you ever expect this was gonna end well for you XD? This is a George co-stanza bit, Jerry. So let me get this straight. George, I'm all ears. Jerry, she thinks you're deaf. George, yes Jerry, deaf. George, deaf. Jerry, deaf. George, as a doornail. Jerry, deaf. Jerry, but how? Why? George, never mind that now. Jerry, oh, we're far beyond that at this point. Jerry, so what's your move? George, well, I figure I have two moves. First, commit. Jerry, commit. George, commit. Learn sign language. Get a white cane. The whole 9 yards. Elaine, a white cane. You're not blind. George, does she think you're blind? Jerry, George, actually hey, do you think that would work? Sort of like a Helen Keller angle. Jerry, but you've seen this girl before, and she knows you've seen her. She's seen you see her. George, some sort of flashbang accident then. Elaine, so what? You go up to this girl pretending to be both deaf and blind and start gesticulating and gyrating your hips. You think that's going to work? George, it's a minor problem. Jerry, minor problem. George, cut me a break. I don't know. I'm very stressed. I need options. Jerry, and the second move? George, hadn't gotten that far yet. Jerry, you haven't gotten that far yet? George, if you're going to do this, you need to be prepared for every outcome. George, every outcome? Jerry, every outcome. George, I'm screwed. Kramer, barreling through the door. Jerry, where's your record player? Jerry, what? George, maybe I can learn sign language. How hard can it be? Kramer finds record player and turns it on as loud as it will go. Jerry, hey, will you quit that? What's wrong with you? Kramer, AHA, I knew it. Can't hear a thing. Too much water in the ears. I'm deaf. George abruptly stops practicing his signing. I've got it. Jerry, no. George, yes. Chronic water in the ear. You're a genius. Kramer, swordfish. Jerry, where are you going? George, to get my swimsuit. I'm committing. Jerry, to be continued. To quote myself from before, I'm dumb as frick. Wrong answer. Didn't you learn anything? Saying that is what started all of this in the first place. He can be dumb as frick and still learn something. You can have two things. But clearly he is not dumb as frick. He can speak. Lying about that is what got him into this mess. Stop being mean and eat your cake. Edit. Thanks for the cake, now I can eat cake. While learning about the different meanings of dumb. Might as well tell her the truth. She, like some of us, may find it freaking hilarious. She already likes you for a reason. If that reason is because you're deaf, the relationship wasn't going to work anyways. If you want this to have any chance of turning into something, you are going to have to be honest with her right away. Tell her what happened and that you feel bad. Tell her that you like her too much to lie to her. If she likes you for you, and not the fact that you're deaf, I think it should work out. She may get turned off by the fact that you lied about being deaf. But I think if you're honest and make it clear that you don't want a relationship built on lies, it should work. I would make sure that you say something to the effect of you like her, and you don't want any relationship with her to be built on a lie. This is the comment I was looking for. Telling her the truth is the right way to go, not just because you won't be able to keep up their charade, but because any outcome is good. Either she is a rational human being with a sense of humor and finds it hilarious, or you find out that she just wanted to look socially enlightened by dating a deaf person. I don't see much of a chance that she'll be offended, as it really wasn't your idea to pretend to be deaf. You just felt like you didn't have a choice given the circumstances. Edit. Well, if I use my comment as a control group, it seems OP's odds of a negative response are roughly 6 out of 539. I would take those odds for sure. Telling her the truth is the right way to go. Telling her the truth in the right way is the way to go. The outcome can be very funny and positive, or outright disastrous depending on how shush is told. I can't pretend to be deaf and dumb. Well, the good news is you only need to pretend to be deaf. Holy crap dude, you freaking killed him. I know this must be awful for you, but honestly this is the funniest crap I've read all day. Please let us know what happens. Haha, I will. Consider this. Step 1. Keep up the charade. Go on the date. Step 2. Woo her with your crudely written notes and winning smile, securing yourself many more dates. Step 3. Spend a few silent, but delightful years with her, dodging her friends and family's questions about why you never learnt sign language. She does learn sign language, by the way. You tried, but kept zoning out during the classes, prompting you to convince your sign teacher that you are also partially blind. When will you learn? Step 4. Get married and make good on your vow to spend the rest of your lives together, albeit silently, and with crippling arthritis in your wrist from writing a lifetime worth of notes to your better half. Step 5. Get a dog. This doesn't really factor into the plan, but let's face it, you are gonna need someone to listen to you make up for years of silence when she pops out to the shop. Step 6. If you have successfully executed steps 1 to 5, you are both very old. You are on your deathbed. She is lovingly standing by your side, sad but content that you have many years of silent happiness. You gesture to her to come closer. You lean forward and with your dying breath you say, "Okay, don't be mad, but..." Honestly dude, just tell her you had been pretending to be dead the whole time. Had I been in her place I would just have laughed at the situation. And hopefully her sense of humor is as dense as mine. Best of luck. Pretending to be dead, now that's something. Semester at Bernie's. Definitely did not mean it this way. But the phrase deaf and dumb has a lot of baggage and connotations that are not really acceptable in the deaf community. This is just a PSA. Don't use that phrase. Came here to say this. Nonverbal is the appropriate term for someone who doesn't communicate with speech. I'd never heard of it before. I just thought he meant literally dumb. On Google I also found the term deaf mute. Would that be acceptable? I've heard it being called dovstim in Swedish, which would be deaf mute translated. Hi, I'm deaf in Australia. We don't use deaf mute anymore really. It still has negative connotations. Non-verbal deaf is better. Even when we don't use speech, we still have a voice and we can still be heard. We can still speak for ourselves. And a lot of deaf people can speak verbally but choose not to. The old sign for deaf in Auslan was 2 fingers at the ear, 2 fingers at the chin to show deaf and mute. But now that's been changed to just 2 fingers at the ear. Edit. If anyone is interested in seeing the history behind the word mute and how it's been used against us for generations, I highly recommend Googling perspectives for the deaf community. I know a lot of deaf people who have really bad English skills because when they went to school, they only focused on speech. The teachers would cover their mouth with paper and force the students to try and hear. Impossible. What's been said. They would get in trouble, punished with caning, for signing. They were told that speech is the most important thing, and signing will take away their ability to speak. They were told being mute means they are dumb, worthless, unable to be accepted in society. A lot of deaf people have trauma and generational trauma over this sort of thing. Here is a YouTube video about Alexander Graham Bell by Jessica Kellgren Fossard. It talks about some of these things and how these views are bad. I teach the deaf and hard of hearing. I just finished the year teaching the deaf and hard of hearing over Zoom. This story is a complete fabrication. You sign up for online classes that are not related to school when you already have an admitted attention difference. That is enough to disqualify your post. But you expect me to believe that your internet connection was strong enough for the Google Meet, but not strong enough to Google the answer? Also, teachers would not get mad at students not answering questions. That was one of the main challenges during the past months. Learning how to be patient with distance learning and student needs. But, to underline or lie, let me make this clear. If you are deaf or hard of hearing, that fact is not going to come up casually in the middle of class. Either you are going to make that known ahead of time so that you will receive proper accommodations, or, in the absurdly impossible and ridiculous scenario where you do not inform anyone of your needs ahead of time, the teacher, in the very least, will be aware of what rights you have to access as a deaf or hard of hearing person, or who to contact regarding getting you access. Lastly, you are showing your extreme ignorance by using the term D&D. That is not an appropriate use of language in the deaf community. It is akin to other references we use for persons that we do not say out loud. You should truly be ashamed, not just for lying for attention, but for casually throwing around an insulting and degrading term about a marginalized community. Especially during a time when marginalized persons are experiencing such public pain right now and struggling to find themselves both seen and heard. I am sorry for your lack of awareness. I hope you might grow and learn and think for a few moments more before you value attention over honesty. Creativity is a positive, but in all that we do, honesty is crucial, lest it lead us down paths of ignorance. Thanks for watching Rad2. Like and subscribe for daily Reddit videos. If you like these videos, check out the original Rad channel.